Alright guys, we're in chapter 13, section 3. We're doing the number system. We're talking about rational numbers, irrational numbers, real numbers, and we're going to solve a few equations, okay? But for starters, rational numbers are basically every number that can be put in a fraction and get an answer, okay? Long story short, that's what that is. Irrational numbers are numbers that do not have a perfect square, numbers that are that you put into a fraction and you do not get an answer, you do not get a decimal, anything like that, okay? So, for example, the square root of 3, that's an irrational number. You don't get, so the square root of 3 is not a perfect square, okay? Determine whether each number is rational or irrational, okay? 0.22222, it's a repeating decimal. It's a real number, okay? So it's going to be a rational number. Okay, 0.35, it's a rational number. This is one thing I want you to look at as well. This chart right here on page 673, it'll help you out, okay? So, let's start over. -9, okay, looking at it, okay, it's not a whole number. A whole number is any number from 0 to positive infinity. We went over that. An integer, it goes from negative infinity to positive infinity, so -9 is an integer. It's a rational number, okay? And it's also a real number, okay? A real number is any set of rational and irrational numbers, okay? So real numbers is basically what? Everything, okay? Okay, now the square root of 35, okay? It's a number, so it's a real number, okay? And is the square root of 35 a perfect square? It's not, so it's an irrational number. But just look through that chart whenever you get a chance, and so you'll understand some rational numbers, irrational numbers. We've had a lesson about wholes and integers and all that, so you should know those, okay? Let's look at example 2. Solve each equation, round decimal answers to the nearest tenth, okay? So we got x squared equals 81, okay? X squared equals 81. And when it says solve each equation, that basically means that we are solving for x, okay? We're solving for x. So now, we're looking for x, we're not looking for x squared, okay? So what we have to do is to get rid of this square, this square right here, we would square root the other side. When you square root the other side, the squared goes away, okay? So we got x equals the square root of 81. And the square root of 81 is 9, okay? That's really, really simple. Same situation right here. We got y squared equals 75, okay? To get rid of the squared, to get rid of the 2 up here, the squaring this y, we have to square root to the right, okay? We actually, technically, you square root both sides, and when you square root this side, the 2 and the square root cancel out. Then you square the other side, and you get y equals the square root of 75, okay? Square root of 75 is not a perfect number, so it would be what? An irrational number, but they decided to put it into a decimal form, and it equals y equals 8.7, okay? So, that's really simple. I just wanted to go over that real quick. So when you get rid of a square root, you square root the other side, okay? That's really, really, really simple, okay? So your example problems on page 674, they're basically exactly like this, okay? I don't remember what all's on there, but you have to tell if it's a whole, rational number, integer, I'm acting like Anna, integer, or real number, okay? You only have about 3 or 4 of those problems. They're really simple. Make sure you guys have all of your work turned in tomorrow, okay? I don't want to give out any zeros for all this because this is easy work, okay? But let me know if you need any help.